The Waycross City Commission public hearing is now called to order. At this time, we stand for our invocation. Father, we love you, thank you, and praise you for your hand of mercy resting upon us. We thank you that you have taught us and are teaching us how to walk according to your will, your word, and your way. And we ask now that you guide our feet as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death in many cases, but we ask that you guide us through the path of righteousness for your name's sake. We praise you and we thank you as we go forward in this time of public hearing, that you will guide us as we come together for an answer to this request. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, the format for conducting this public hearing will be in the following manner. The city clerk will read the notice that was published in the Waycross Journal-Herald. Following the reading of the public notice, the appropriate department personnel will summarize a report regarding the petition. The petitioners shall have 10 minutes to present reasons for the approval of the petition, and opponents of the petition shall have 10 minutes to present reasons why the petition should not be approved. Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of the petition should have registered with the city clerk prior to the commencement of this hearing, and the speaker should give his or her name and address. If more than one person registers in opposition to the petition, the one who registers first shall be entitled to the use of the 10 minutes to present the reasons why the petition should not be approved. Following the 10-minute presentations, others will be permitted to speak. Each person so desiring to speak shall have 3 minutes to make the presentations. I'll determine the order in which these presentations are made, and following the opportunity of all to speak, the City Commission will deliberate the issue and make its decision, or the decision will be deferred to a later date. At this time, I would designate our city's clerk, Mr. Nixon, as this hearing's timekeeper. Mr. Nixon.
Public notice. The Commission of the City of Waycross has scheduled a public hearing to be held on March 18th, 2025 at 4:45 p.m. at the City Hall, 417 Pendleton Street, Waycross, Georgia, for the purpose of considering an amendment to the zoning ordinance of the City of Waycross, Georgia. A copy of the petition and a map of the area are available for public review in the office of the city clerk at City Hall during normal business hours. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this time, we call for our Community Improvement Department statement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. This is a petition to change the Waycross official zoning map at the parcel WA 0703-199 from GI General Industrial to R50 MH, which is mobile home residential. The applicant is Ms. Rosa Lopez Cristobal. She is the property owner. The purpose is to rezone the property to allow for a mobile home or site-built home on this property. The Planning Commission heard this request at their meeting on February 11th, 2025, and adopted a motion to recommend the approval. The size of the location is approximately 0.183 acres. It is bordered on the north by General Industrial, which is vacant land, and the asphalt company. To the south, it is GI and R50MH, which is vacant land and some houses. To the east is R50MH with some vacant land. And to the west, it's GI General Industrial, and there's 2 warehouses there. Again, the owner wants this property to be rezoned to allow for mobile home or site-built home. Their first plan is a site-built home on this property. The property can be served with city water and sewer, and also police and fire. This is the property in question, highlighted in red. Right across from it is, the name just blew, it's the cleaning company for, it just I just lost the name of the company.
Don't worry, get worse.
Yeah. Then you've got the asphalt company to the north, up there. So it's right at the end of M Street. And then there's another warehouse that you see with the rusted metal part. This is kind of a storage warehouse. There's not a business there. You see the vacant land around it, and then everything kind of from the south and to the east is all residential. And this property to the zoning map, again, everything to the east and south is the R50MH is designated by the dark brown color. The GI is the dark gray color. So it would not be spot zoning. It's contiguous with abutting property that is zoned for residential. And with that, any questions?
So this is the canyon, as they call it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's off of
Off of Albany?
Albany Avenue, off towards M Street and the railroad tracks and the asphalt plant there.
Where I used to live. All right. Any questions, Commission? We'll start with District 1.
I don't mind rezoning, sir, to residential, but I'm not, we would not like the mobile homes.
I hear you. And District 2? What are you thinking?
Yes.
Okay. And District 3?
We have room for question.
Yes, that's what this is,
Okay.
question time.
So, you said that they wanted to bring a mobile home, and you said build a home or
Well,
something?
the first option is site built. And the reason they went with R50MH is again because it's contiguous with the residential that's there. So the MH would allow mobile homes. So back to Commissioner Roberts' question or concern, if you didn't want mobile homes, that would have to be changed to R50, which would be spot zone, which is not illegal, it's just frowned upon. But that would be R50 to prevent mobile homes there. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
So their first plan is to build there. And the only reason they wanted the MH is because it's contiguous and it would not be spot zoning, if that makes sense.
The other homes surrounding that area, what are they homes or are they mobile homes?
It's a mixture. There's some mobile homes and then there's some site builds. So it's kind of a mixture there. I didn't get a count on them.
Okay.
But it's covers from M Street all the way over to the road just past, I guess, almost to Johnson Avenue where it comes around. And from Albany up would be the R50MH. And then it crosses a little bit across Ossie Davis and catches a little section there, but not much, of the R50MH. But as far as mobile homes, from just thinking about it riding through, majority of the homes in that area are, I would say, site built, but there are some mobile homes, but an exact count, I don't know. I didn't count those.
So, and thank you for answering my question. My concern is, and we've had this conversation many times as a commission, and as I'm on the Land Bank Authority as well, with the types of homes that we're desiring to see or apartments built in our community. And so we've got to think about whether or not the home structure, whether it's a mobile home or a residential home that's being built, how that's going to impact our economy here in the city, and also how it's going to impact that neighborhood presently and also in the future, and whether or not the type of homes that are going to be built or transported there, is that going to draw in, new residents in our community?
Okay. District 3 is making some points along with that. Districts 1 and 2 want to comment, then I'm coming back to District 5. District 1?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, do you know what the years of mobile homes they're thinking about bringing in? I mean, 'cause
They didn't say, like I said, the time that I talked to them, their intention is site built, and, but they haven't mentioned if they went mobile home, what year it would be.
yeah,
But there would be, so by state law, mobile homes have to be 76 or newer. But any mobile home that comes into the city has an ordinance that we inspect it. So if it's a used one, doesn't matter if it's a year old or 20 years old, the city goes and inspects that, and it has to meet certain standards. So, you know, I've seen 78s that look immaculate, look like they just come off the lot, and I've seen some that are 2023s that are falling apart. So it's one of those, we inspect those, and if they're in bad shape, we won't allow it to come into the city. And I will say, so this lady came in wanting this. Her son has claimed that this property is his, but all the documents, paperwork, the deed and all shows it being in her name. He admitted that it's in her name, but he was wanting to build a pole barn to store his equipment under. But again, she never came and pulled this off the table, so we're proceeding with it being rezoned to her request.
Okay, in District 2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You answered the question I had, that Mr. Roberts. So, how many mobile homes is she trying to put on there?
It would just be one. It's only big enough for one.
One.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see if I can pull this up.
Could this be to rent or buy?
She said for their personal use.
That was my question.
So she's gonna rent it out.
So
No, her
it's-
personal.
Oh, personal
it's
use.
personal usage.
Let's see if I can get this bigger.
And Mark, I believe this is a new mobile home as well, because she did call it to the city hall, and I understand the commission's
Concerns. Yeah.
yeah, but this is we got to be mindful everybody can't afford a house, and
Well, the location is the
Yeah.
place it's in. It'll probably be fine for that location.
yes,
And I understand making mention of use of maybe in other areas where there is possibly a housing already established a certain type of way. That I can see that, because say for instance you're in your third district where you have Victorian homes, you want to build or have something that goes along with that.
Right.
But in this particular section of town, and noticing where it's located and noticing some of the backdrop that you can see from the aerial view, and knowing the area myself, I think that there are more trailers than you may know that are in that area.
Correct.
Anyway. Yeah.
And I can't get this to show up, but the survey, the lot is only 57 foot wide by 139. So R50 or R50MH requires the lot to be at least 50 foot wide. So it's only big enough for one house or mobile home.
and also, Mr. Mayor, I know there's been discussion about somebody. I haven't seen it yet. I don't think it's came to the planning committee yet about a trailer park being established somewhere in the city. So until that happens, then yeah, I don't want the commission to get confused with. They have received calls on that too, but much like other things, when people try to rezone stuff or start projects, we don't know about it until either the commission gets notified or we stumble upon it. So I know it's out there in the space, but this is definitely not the same thing. So I just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, I just hope that we're not convoluting conversation and
Yes.
having a couple of things going on in one thing. And
Correct.
if we don't keep our focus on the thing that we're actually talking about, we're probably bringing in too much
Correct.
for discussion. District 5,
No question, sir.
okay? All right. Having heard these conversations, we can have a motion regarding this proposal or request. Is there a motion? Okay, hearing none, this dies for lack of a motion and a second. Okay, we need a motion to come out to go into our meeting? Is there a motion to come out of this meeting?
So move, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion from Commissioner Nelson. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Commissioner Roberts. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion. The word. For some strange reason, my devotion keeps taking me back to reciprocity, which is the process of getting back what you sow into a thing. And so the book of Luke, chapter 6 says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over." Matthew, chapter 6, verses 14 and 15 talk about forgiveness. And in those two passages, it says, if you do not forgive, you cannot be forgiven. And we do understand that forgiveness is the only way you can get into what we call heaven. And it says there that if you cannot forgive your brother, the Father in heaven will not forgive you. And with those words being said, I'll now lead us in our prayer. Father, we love you, praise you, and thank you for this opportunity to come together. And we ask now that you would forgive us of our many sins and the wrongs that we've done in our lives. But we also say, we ask that you help us to forgive those who have trespassed against us. And we love you, Father. We pray now that you would bless this meeting, that it would be as you desire it to be. We yield our thoughts and our will to your will. And we pray that your word, your will, your way will govern and guide us as we go forward in deliberation and decision making. We praise you and we thank you now in the precious and holy name of our Savior and our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we look to our city clerk for the reading of our decorum and commission while the reading of the decorum is being had. Let us be reminded to look at our agenda, and if there is something that needs to be moved or changed, please let me know before the motion. All right? Mr. Clerk.
Just one moment, Mr. Mayor. You got a copy of the Mr. Mayor.
And Mr. Clerk, if you'd like me to, I can read it since I have it before me. Okay. Persons who wish to address the City Commission at a regular or called meeting of the City Commission under the public remarks on official actions agenda item must register or sign up or express their desire with the city clerk no later than the beginning of the meeting and shall state the resolution, ordinance, or agenda item on which the speaker wishes to speak. Because time is a limited resource, and in an effort to conduct public remarks or comments on matters which official action is to be taken by the commission in the most efficient and effective manner possible, persons who wish to speak in support or in opposition of said official action being considered shall be allowed as follows. The first person who registers to speak in support or in opposition to shall each be entitled to speak for 5 minutes as to why the official action should or should not be approved by the commission, with any other person desiring to speak either in opposition or in support shall have 2 minutes each. If more than one person registers to speak in opposition or in support, they can decide who speaks first, but if they cannot agree, the first person who registers with the clerk is allowed 5 minutes. Failure to follow the procedure outlined herein may result in an individual not being eligible to address the commission until he or she agrees to the mayor's satisfaction to abide by the rules as stated herein. The following rules shall apply. 1, the speaker must begin the remarks by stating his or her name, address, and organization represented, if any. Number 2, the speaker must address all remarks to the mayor and not to any individuals. Number 3, the speaker's comments must be pertinent to the resolution, ordinance, or agenda item for which the speaker has signed up. Number 4, the speaker shall follow the rules of decorum as set out in section 266 and must avoid repetition. Number 5, after the city commission begins discussion and consideration of a resolution, an ordinance, or an official action, only the mayor, the commissioners, and the persons requested to speak by the mayor or a city commissioner after receiving permission from the mayor will be allowed to speak. Number 6, except for unusual circumstances and only after a vote by a majority of the city commissioners present at such meetings will a person who has not signed up in advance of the meeting be allowed to speak. The city commission, by majority vote of the members present, may suspend all or any of these rules. 8, any person who violates any of these rules may be removed from the meeting. 9, any speaker or proposed speaker who violates these rules after first being warned by the mayor or the mayor pro tem in the absence of the mayor or the city commission, either or both, to see such violation shall, upon conviction in the municipal court, be guilty of an offense and punished as set forth in section 1-9. B, persons who wish to address the city commission at work session shall have the right to address or speak to the city commissioners or official actions or other topics relating to the business or interest of the city. The commission will not hear from persons, and persons will not be permitted to speak on matters or issues which are not related to the official city business. Matters or issues not under the jurisdiction or control of the commission, matters or issues published on an agenda as a public hearing agenda item, or on matters or issues which are traditionally reserved for executive session, such as personal matters and matters which are the subject of or pertain to pending or current litigation. Because time is a limited resource, and in an effort to hear from the public in the most efficient and effective manner possible, a total of 4 persons will be permitted to speak at each work session with a maximum of 3 minutes allotted to each speaker. Speakers shall sign up on a first come, first served basis. Failure to follow the procedures outlined herein may result in an individual not being eligible to address the commission until he or she agrees to the mayor's satisfaction to abide by the rules stated herein. And I'll cease reading there. And the decorum is found in section 2.66, which this particular point of public comment applies to this particular outline due to the fact that this is our official meeting. And at this time, I'll look to the commission for a motion on the agenda. Is there a motion to receive the agenda as printed?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, the resolution, number 2?
Number 2.
Yes, sir, about the Coley Street property.
Number 2, Coley Street property. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, with all due respect to Commissioner Bennett, because that's her district. But the district do butt against District 1. And we don't have a problem with the sale, but we just want to make sure too that it's housing and not bringing in apartments. So long as it's residential straight up housing, we are good with that. But And like I said, with respect to Commissioner Bennett, but still, I would like to have housing because it's buttoned up to my district.
Understood. So in this resolution, what we can do, are you gonna, do you want it to remain on the agenda or do you want it to be removed?
Well, we can go along with it.
Okay.
As long as it's houses.
Okay.
We don't have to fight later on.
Okay, so we can have that discussion when the resolution comes up.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Mayor, I have a question.
And yes,
Regarding the resolutions, it was my understanding that there will be a resolution to add ESG and Mr. Bill, I can't think of his last name, for the utility rate water study to be added to our retreat.
okay, and that wouldn't be a resolution. The resolution would not be for the retreat, but the resolution would be for allowing, if I'm not mistaken, for us to allow for the water rate to be changed. Do we have a resolution for that today? 3%?
Right, that's what I was,
Okay.
in addition to what I was.
Okay.
And so I think adding a speaker to the retreat is simply a concession which y'all did, and I will add him. I don't think we need a resolution for that.
No resolution for that
Okay.
is necessary.
Okay, I pulled a resolution for, if we want to discuss it now, why it was pulled, for the rate increase, because we had a resolution already. Do I need to go into that now, or once y'all?
We can do it when we get into the meeting, if
Okay.
they have approved the agenda. There's more to this than
Yes,
the eye
Mr.
can see, and I know that you want to reveal
Yes.
to the commission what has been hidden in plain sight, in a sense.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so with that, those couple of items that have been mentioned, what is the pleasure of the commission?
Move for approval?
Okay. We have a motion for approval of the agenda and to move forward. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. We'll do voice vote. District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
All right. At this point, we'll move forward with the agenda for tonight. Do we have, according to this, we have Coastal Pines Technical College Adult Literacy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
and to the board. And I'd like to also address my boss, Ms. Katrina Felder. She's the executive director at Coastal Pine Technical College, which saw fit to hire me as an adult ed instructor. And I've been here now about 3 years, and I became acquainted with Mr. Lockett.
His name.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Point of clarification, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we just wanted your name and where you
Yes.
stay. Is
Okay.
it?
My name's Eric Mathis, and I'm the adult ed instructor at Coastal Pine Technical College. And just like to tell you a little bit about our program. We have had an extraordinary year last year, whereas we was given about 1,100, or this year they increased it to 1,110 students for us to serve. Last year, we served 868 students, which was about like a 23% increase. Currently, we have about 827 students on roll now, so we should knock those goals down and set some new ones. We have also about 95 ESL students enrolled in the program, which is English as a second learner language. We've achieved about 185 GED diplomas for the state of Georgia. Last year we exceeded that number. It was only set at 157. We've also had about 39 students completing their IET certification, whether it was serve safe or whether it was forklift And very few of them did some nursing. But we are proud of those type of numbers, and we do look forward to having those numbers increase before the end of the fiscal school year, which ends at the end of June. Coastal Pine Technical College program has classes designed to help students to prepare and take the GED. Our program offers no cost instructions. They have free assessments so that we can determine their skill level, also create lesson plans to meet the students where they are. Academic counseling and advisement is also available. We have special needs instructions as well, computerized instructions in the classroom, and we also offer day and evening classes. Our motto is get assessed, get placed, get learning. Everyone entering our adult ed program must be assessed. Students will be evaluated at these free orientation and assessments. We take the worry off all the students because they don't have to worry about cost. They don't have to struggle with any type of money costs or anything like that. We take that totally on ourselves. We have the high school equivalency grant, and also we have the Coastal Pine Technical College scholarship to assist the students. And thirdly, if they don't want to go through that, they can pay. That's an option for the students, but we don't want them to use that because we got these other programs available, and we want to utilize those resources so they can continue to assist us to serve the students. Also, we have the adult education program. Excuse me, for some reason I'm getting dry mouth or whatever. But we assist the students free of charge through a variety of programs. We have basic skills improvement. We have ESL. We also have GED classes, and we have the IET program, which is the integrated educational training. Like I said, that's give our students a real world learning environment and increase their valuability to their employer. And we're proud of those numbers where we see students not only graduate with their GED, they come out with a certification as well. And then when they go to job interviews and present their certifications, certainly you can tell that they're more likely to get hired than someone without those certifications. The last year or so, we broadened our range of learning. We have now gone into the jails. I have also been selected as the instructor at the jail site, and since we've been there, we have about 10 graduates to come out of the Coastal Pine Technical College graduation program. Our adult education program have helped many of them. I highlight one student that we had. His name is Andre Johnson. He was in our program, but then he got incarcerated. Somehow or another, he was at the same jail I was teaching at. This young man went into the program within 2 months. He had graduated. On the day he graduated, he was sitting in court, and they was getting ready to pronounce a sentence on him. When the news of his diploma reached the judge, instead of giving him a sentence, they commuted it, sent him home with probation. And so this speaks volumes, and we like to tell this story to the other incarcerated population, because if the judge will see fit for one student, what you think will do for the others, because it's a sign of them trying to improve themselves. and better their environment. So we are going into the jails, we're doing that. And just recently, we embarked upon a 3-to-go program where students could come in and do an assessment. We got it fast tracked where they can take a little practice test under the math and science portion, which is the 2 difficult areas. They do well on that, and we put them in the 3-day program. The 3rd day, we'll give them a test, not a practice, but the actual GED test in conjunction with Pearson View Test Center. We'll give them the actual test, and they pass that, they'll be graduated within 3 days. It's a pilot program, but this program is successful. That's something that we want to implement more often. We also have, under the direction of Miss, I forget our ESL instructor.
Eugenia Evans.
Yeah, Eugenia, I'm sorry. Miss Eugenia Evans, she is our English second learner instructor. She have done great work in getting some of those to become citizens, and also she also is instrumental in allowing the very low-level learners, teaching them English, and to the point where they can enter into our regular classrooms and understand the instructions and take the training and eventually graduate. We have a few of those that have accomplished that great feat. And our GED testings, they're all computerized. We work in conjunction with Pearson View Labs. We test in 4 different areas. There are math, science, social studies, and language arts. Each test costs about $46. That's about a $6 increase from the previous year due to inflation, but a total cost would be like $184. And to take that sting away from the students, we provide a scholarship or either the HSE grant. And to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been here about 3 years, and I've been teaching about close to 15 years. They kept me in the math department, which is really out of my field, but I have strong math skills and everything like that, so they kept me around the math. Everywhere I went to teach, whether it was in Valdosta or in Lake City, they want to throw me in the math. And I get here, and Ms. Katrina Felder hired me as one of the instructors. When they found out that I had strong math skills, that was it. And I will tell you that there were times when I wanted to pack up because I didn't realize how fast-paced and how demanding being an instructor at the adult education school would be. And one thing about Ms. Felder, she was very demanding, wanted everything done with excellence. I didn't mind doing that, but they didn't tell me about this had to be learned and that had to be learned and this, so I almost left. The thing of it is that I like to tell people, sometimes you can give up too soon. And if I would have given up and left, I would not have experienced now what I've been selected as. Recently I was selected as the Teacher of the Year for Coastal Pine Technical College, and I've gone to Atlanta, and we had a convention, not a convention, but a conference there. And then the other night I was invited to a donors dinner, and they wanted me to speak there. And then I thought it was over with, and my boss said, you got to come down and speak one more time. So I'm Mr. Mathis. I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to me, and anybody would love to donate to us or help us out in any capacity, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any public remarks on official actions? Okay, hearing none. We move into our executive duties, and we need to have a conversation about the MOU.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. As outlined in the charter, yourself, myself can sign MOUs. Yesterday's presentation was meant to educate the entire commission body on the initiative in Commissioner Nelson's park area. Now, they already have vegetation, that they only want to extend the vegetation area. Unfortunately, because of the length of the brief, they didn't get to the actual request to have that MOU signed so it could live through the commissions. So I'm requesting tonight, we're creating an MOU. Unfortunately, the city clerk had a family emergency. She had to take off. And hopefully everything's okay. So we didn't get a chance to finish MOU. But it's simply going to state they can use additional portions of the park for their vegetation program that they briefed yesterday. And I can either sign now, you can sign it, Mr. Mayor, and we don't have to bring it back before the commission. We'll make sure everybody knew what was going on. I pause there for questions on that.
I don't think there is any question regarding it, unless Commissioner Nelson might want to speak to it, but I think he has the intelligence on it, so if he wants to share something that he knows that we don't know, that may be good. Did you want to share?
Mr. Mayor, they just wanted to know before they move forward with all those grants they received that we as a city wouldn't come back and change our minds on them. So by doing this, this would guarantee them that we would not do that.
Great.
And they could move forward on the things that they want to do for the community.
Great.
And one of the things that I asked them was that in all this growth of this fruits and vegetables, will that be accessible to the community around here, not outside Waycross, but just around here? And they guaranteed that throughout the course of a year or sometime in the near future that will be available on site where people can come out and buy from them on the spot with vouchers and stuff.
Great.
So other than that, that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And I know that they've been doing this, Way Green's been doing this quite some time now through our Okefenokee Heritage Center, so I'm willing to sign off.
Great.
I just
Okay.
needed him to speak to that.
Okay.
City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no visual for my city manager report today. I want to cover a few topics, and if I can, Mr. Mayor, I can cover why we pull that one resolution during my city report for the commission.
Okay.
But I'll start off with this, just to say that we're requesting everybody utilize the Facebook page for the daily update. However, if you're not on Facebook or social media and you want to get that daily update, just signifying where we are in the community as far as our operations and updates on roads, maps, parks, streets, all those things, you can subscribe to the email. The email should be getting posted in the comment section right now. But once again, if you're in Facebook, you can't see that. But for those that might be watching right now, please come up to see the Business Integrations and Information Systems Director, Mr. Simmons, and you can sign up for that email, and you'll get an email with that daily report every day. There's only two ways you're going to get it, either through social media or through the email correspondence. So those that, like I said, that are not on social media, you need to come up here and sign up on our distribution list for that report. It is also on the website if you want to go to our website as well. And there you can just hit that link to the email and sign up too. So, but again, those that might not have access to computers or might find our website challenging and they don't want to be on Facebook, just please come up to City Hall and Mr. Simmons' team will get you signed up for that email distribution list outlining all the daily operations of the city of Waycross. Next, Mr. Mayor, this is just an informational update. We had a lot of inquiries about our tree maintenance, in particular the crepe myrtles, definitely throughout downtown, midtown, a few other areas. So we have been cutting those crepe myrtles for some years in the same capacity, so they always grow right back. We are looking at, if you saw today, we started removing the grass and the rocks at the base of these locations. The goal is to get more consistency with all of the crepe myrtles and all the trees. We are still trying to figure out what that looks like, if it's going to be pavers or anything like that. it's kind of difficult based on the base of the trees, but we know we're getting a lot of comments about the crepe myrtle maintenance. So just want to let the public know that we got people that are trained to cut myrtles. They've been doing it for years. They always grow back, and we are looking at other ways to make the appearance, at least at the base level, more aesthetic to the community moving forward. Next, Mr. Mayor, I would like to talk about the canal maintenance. As you know, we had some flooding concerns throughout the city of Waycross, throughout the history of Waycross, and we have been taking a lot of steps to fix the canals, but the canal is only one part of the process about the drainage. For those who might not be aware, when a storm passes through the city of Waycross, it's going from east north, so it ends up going up the coast. That water enters the river, our river, and makes its way south. Once the river is at a certain height, any water here sitting in Waycross is not going to be able to enter that water stream surface. So it's not about the canals not being clean or grass in them. It is about the level of water. So the only thing we can do at that time is let the water disperse, which will take time, and once it goes down, it will pass into the river. With that being said, those areas that need cleaning and assessment of some of our citizens, we can't necessarily go in there cleaning because we don't have easements yet. We are currently working to get the easements. I will ask citizens to understand that process. And if you are one of those owners that owns the land surrounding a canal, if you could help us out and answer some of the requests to get easement started, it will help out the city of Waycross. In some cases, we have found out the person with the house on the land is not the owner, and we have to contact the actual owner. That also takes time. But it's also part of the process about us getting the canals clean. We need to get access to the canals to get them clean, something that we're working on. We have about 8 locations, I think, right now that we're trying to get some easements or access on to get in there and better clean those canals. In those cases as well, it might be a situation where the owner does not want us to come on the canal to clean it. And in those cases, we won't, unless the commission wants to, we can look at other means, but more than likely we won't keep going on with that because we've so far we've not really gotten anywhere this past year with those scenarios. There's only been 2 cases like that where they don't want us to come on their property. So I just want to make sure everybody understands these processes because it does take some time. Everything is connected, and as we work on our overall drainage program, this is just a small part of it that we're trying to make better. So when it does rain here, the rain will sit for a certain amount of time based on how much rain falls because we don't have the green space, meaning free grass to suck up the rain. And also if the storm is pushing the water from up north until that river goes down, it's gonna push our water back some. So just hoping everybody understands that. Last thing, Mr. Mayor, I did remove the resolution to update or to increase the water rates. But upon researching the resolution, we found that we had other resolutions already in place. You have a copy in your desk.
Yes.
They kind of outline the exact same thing. I was not sure at the time. Could we not use the current regulations? So I'm talking to the city attorney about this. The only problem with this resolution when it was passed, the one on your desk right now should reflect 2017. I know many of you were not there during that time frame, and it's a 1.5%. So we're going to research this because they also use a management group to get their information on how to make the raises. But the key thing with this current resolution, it talks about the CPI model index, giving us the ability. If you go down to what page is that? Page 3. Yeah, at the bottom it says, it further resolved that the above rates may be adjusted each July 1st by the Commission of the City of Waycross by adoption of the resolution for said purpose for the annual percentage increase in the consumer price index for all urban consumers in all items categories as published by the Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics in the CPI detailed report for December of the preceding calendar year, with the annual increase limited to 5%. So with this statement, Mr. Mayor, I believe we've already had a resolution that adopted the CPI, and I've mentioned the CPI a few times before. So I'm going to get with the city attorney and the city clerk, hopefully if everything all right with her when she comes back, and try to find that resolution because that's probably going to be If it's already there, like I said, we mentioned before about adopting that CPI model. I want to make sure, or if it's there, first alert the commission that it's there, and we probably should be following it. Or at the same time, if the current commission does not want to follow it, then I think we gotta do retro resolutions to get rid of all this stuff and kind of start over. So what I end up doing, just pulling everything. Like I say, a lot of times, unfortunately, we don't know what other resolutions are out there until we go looking for said topic. And this happened yesterday when we were trying to research the best way to write the resolution for the water usage increase. So that's where we're right now. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have a better understanding of why this 2017 resolution was not acted upon. It's also my understanding we had another one in 2022 right behind this. So I'm trying to just figure out what happened during those time frames. And once I figure out, I will bring this back to the resolution at the next meeting we have coming up with those answers and also the CPI. And then request again that we do the rates based off of the new information that I've discovered. And I know it's a lot, Ms. Mayor, so I'll stop there.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Not a lot actually. It's good that this was found.
Okay.
The other side of that is that the 2022 one was I was here.
Correct.
So the understanding here, I know we sat on the floor down there talking about it several times. So there are various things that we've already gone through. Correct. The ESG came in and taught us through Mr. Trey Gavin, who did a presentation back at that time, and I believe a couple of commissioners that are here now were on that particular group. So I believe that we've heard this before, but just for clarity, and I understand what you're trying to do is make sure we're keeping with what we've already stated, so that we won't later on find ourselves against ourselves with the same thing. Did the attorney want to say anything to this? Before
I pass to the attorney, Mr. Mayor, I just want to state that the 2022 is more likely just falling upon this. It's probably like an annual review. I haven't seen it yet. They're looking for it right now. They had to stop for the reason I mentioned earlier. So I don't think it's a new resolution. I think they must have just updated the annual on this and kind of pass it for that. So I'm not. That resolution is a bigger deal as this resolution. So if that makes sense.
Well, this is the feeder.
Yes.
This is the actual starting point. This is where all the others derive from. And if I'm not mistaken, during this particular time under number 62,
correct,
there was I know when he signed off on this, it was not enacted after it was signed. So the follow through is the thing that I'm concerned about.
As well as I am, Mr. Mayor. Yes, and we're trying to figure that out.
Because you can make a resolution, but if you don't have the follow through thereafter, it's really null and void.
We were trying to get the resolution done, and then we discovered this, and so that's why we're at the point where we are now, just trying to figure out what happened since 2016, what happened in 2022, and so we were not able to get it done for tonight until we get the answers to those.
And that's why it was pulled. I understand that.
Okay. And that completes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. And thank you. I wanted to, in my report, I believe it's my time to just talk a little bit about what's been happening on my side of the table. And one thing that I wanted to commend our majority whip for the state of Georgia, who happens to be Representative James Burchett. He called me in to come to the state capitol for the purpose of serving as the chaplain of the day. So I went in, and great hospitality given by Speaker Burns and also by the entire House of Representatives. So I was very excited about being able to represent the city of Waycross there. The other side of this is that I was given the opportunity just the other day to help celebrate Mrs. Velma Harrington, and today is declared Miss Velma Harrington Day. And so all day today, they've been having some great events and activities for her. We had a great meeting on this last weekend, which was Saturday. So we do want to say to the family of Miss Harrington, she's a great educator. She actually graduated from Center High School in 1948 and from the Albany State University in 1952. So we really want to thank her and her family for the great hospitality this last weekend as we celebrated her. I did have a photo, and it should be on our website today, with this 95-year-old who's getting around better than some 40-year-olds. So I thought it was a great event. Along with that, I just wanted to thank the commission for being present for these last few weeks. We've actually been seeing great things getting done, and I'm appreciative to each of you for coming in. And that's one of the things that leads us into our workforce. I believe we have a source or workforce meeting coming up in April that will be taking place at our city's auditorium. And we look forward to seeing many of our youth and young people and talent being trained. One of the concerns in the classroom now is, why do people not want to stay in the city? It's not that they don't have the ability to stay. It's just that they don't see what can be done here. And the goal of this workforce is to see what is available, have the opportunity to be trained for it, and when businesses come into our community, which several of them have been traveling through and touring today, this gives us an opportunity to showcase our people and the gifts that we have in our city. So with that, I'll move to our next matter of concern, and that will be our consent calendar. And I look to our city's clerk, Mr. Nixon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Consideration of official actions, consent calendar. We have our approval of minutes. Waycross City Commission Planning and Information Session, Monday, January 6, 2025 at 5 p.m. Waycross City Commission meeting Tuesday, January 7, 2025 at 5 p.m. Waycross City Commission and Planning and Information Session, Tuesday, January 21st, 2025 at 3 p.m. We have Waycross City Commission meeting Tuesday, January 21st, 5 o'clock p.m. Waycross City Commission public hearing Wednesday, February 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Waycross City Commission public hearing Wednesday, February 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We also have Waycross City Commission special call meeting February 12th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Waycross City Commission Planning and Information Session Monday, February 17th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Waycross City Commission meeting Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 at 5 p.m. And finally, Waycross City Commission public hearing Wednesday, February 19th at 6 p.m.
Having heard the consent calendar, what is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval from our Commissioner Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from our Commissioner Nelson. We'll move into voting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Consent calendar passes. At this time, we look to our city's procurement department and Ms. Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, purchasing has two items before you today. The first one is for the Alice Street warehouse renovation. The warehouse was flooded on November the 7th from a heavy rainstorm. As a result, there was over 14 inches of water that was stagnant in the warehouse. After it flooded, there was a lot of mold and bacteria. We have since had that remediated and cleaned, and with the commission's permission, we put out a bid to renovate the warehouse. We received two bids, one from B. James Construction of Blackshear, Georgia, of $45,000, and one from Tyco Construction of $143,700. We are, with our recommendation, and after reviewing, our recommendation is to award the bid to B. James Construction of Blackshear, Georgia, for $45,000.
Commission, we have heard the bid proposed by the procurement officer, Mrs. Jackson. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Roberts. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
No, I have a question.
Okay, we have moved into voting, and now, let's see, hold on, I'm gonna need your help here.
All right, you've already called for the question. And
Right.
so, there was no unreadiness stated, I think, at that point. So you're already calling for the vote, so you have to finish the voting.
Exactly, so the vote has been called. Right now, I'll have to do a voice vote because we had a break-in. So, District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3, District,
I pass.
okay, and District 5,
Yes, sir.
okay? Motion carries, bid approved.
The next item before the commission is the sale of 1200 College Street. That property was surplused 4/2 of '24. We have received an offer. The commission tentatively accepted the offer on the condition that the buyer mitigate the asbestos in the building within 1 year of closing. The buyer has agreed to that condition, and we are coming back before the commission to ask if they will accept the offer with the condition added. I'm sorry, the offer is $175,000.
Very good, thank you. Having heard the offer proposed and given to us by Mrs. Jackson, what is your pleasure, Commission? I'll just put it this way. You consented last night, so either you with what you said or you've changed your mind in the night. Yes, sir.
So am I allowed to ask the question?
You're allowed to ask your question.
Okay, sir, with the change of, the resolution, and like we were saying about, making sure that the apartments we weren't bringing apartments in. So, I mean, we just want the single family housing, as long as it's single family housing, we'll, approve the sale. You know,
And you can, and my question to the city attorney,
You can't. Go ahead.
we cannot determine what they do on the property once we,
That is correct. You can't really dictate to people what they do with the property once you declare it surplus and sell it.
Mhm.
Now, it is currently zoned for C1, so it's, it's
Commercial.
commercial property at this point. And I think that point came out last night too, that if he wanted to put some sort of multifamily housing, he'd have to apply for a rezoning request for that, and you could control it at that point.
we could control it in the sense that we could say no to that, because he had to change it. He'll have to come back through this
yes, sir.
same place.
I understand. I just didn't want nobody to throw your money out there, then, you know what I'm saying?
I got you, I understand exactly. So with that being stated, I still leave the floor open for a motion on this particular presentation. So what is your pleasure? Now, you know you got power after this, so just want to know where you are.
That's Commissioner Bennett district, so.
I'll move it for us to go ahead with it,
Okay.
sir.
So she's given us a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. So we have a motion from our Commissioner Bennett and a second from our Commissioner Roberts. All in favor, aye?
Discussion first, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, you want to discuss? Well, I pause.
We just had a discussion.
You did have some discussion beforehand, but now you had a question.
He has for a motion. He has for the motion first, and he put the motion on the floor, and
Motion second and
it's
discussion.
time for discussion.
That's correct.
Again?
It's time for discussion.
It's time for discussion now. He asked a question to her regarding what's going to happen, but it was not discussion.
Robert Rules of Order.
Mhm.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
And their concern, I believe, was the fact that we're gonna turn this over to him, and he's gonna probably do something that's not appealing to the community. My thinking is that if we were to pass it, we can come back and zone it single residential. Is that a possibility?
But you would have to do that through your planning and zoning commission, and then they would bring it to us.
Right.
And then, just as we did a public hearing earlier today, then you can determine, then you have the power in that right to either say yes or no.
Yes, I just wanted to state some clarity in that.
I got you.
Okay, that's it, Mr. Mayor.
And that just goes along with what the question was earlier, just to re-emphasis. Okay?
I have a question.
And there's a question on the floor, Ms.
So, you stated yesterday that the buyer is William Gross.
Yes.
Is that Mr. Bill Gross?
Bill Gross, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he has a history of developing in this community, correct?
Yes.
So my question is, if he has a history of developing more than one project in this community for housing, and it's been successful, as far
Yes.
as I'm aware, I don't understand the reservation.
It's just a question and just clarity. I think if it's in an area and individuals want to know something, they can ask that question. And because one of us knows a thing does not mean all of us know that thing. And because we need clarity due to the fact that not everybody knows it, then that's where the questions come. You know, I can see if I may know someone and you don't know them, and they're coming on my property and they're working for me, but then you come to me and ask me questions about it. I understand your question because you don't know them, and I do. So unless we have a presentation before us saying something about the buyer, and we did not know until you told us the name after a question was made, that was not a part of the presentation initially.
Correct.
So therefore the questions do arise when we don't know who the people are. And you use two different names here. We used one name, although I know if my name was Robert, you can call me Bob. If my name is William, you can call me Bill. But the point that I'm making is that depending upon the person, when they hear that, it could change how they hear a thing. So back to my point. If we can make the vote, and then we can also come back after this vote. And if, for instance, there is a change of the zoning, and there's a request of us as a commission, you have control in that area. Is that clear? Okay. All right, so we'll move into voting. I'll just do it by districts. District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes.
Motion approved. There was a surplus property on Lot 3 City Boulevard. Did we take that off the chart today?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And we now go to our ordinances.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You have an ordinance to amend the code of the city of Waycross, Georgia, to amend Chapter 34, Taxation, Licenses, and Business Regulations, Article 4, Occupation Tax, Section 34-88, pertaining to when occupation tax due and payable, to add stricter enforcement provisions, Section 34-97, pertaining to subpoena and arrest powers, Section 34-103, pertaining to payment of occupation tax by newly established businesses, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide for severability, to declare an emergency, to provide for an effective date, to provide for renumbering or relettering, and for other purposes. By adopting this resolution, the City Commission will amend the city code relating to business license fees or occupation tax, to provide for increases in fees as set forth in the ordinance, the due date for said fees, and adding strict enforcement penalties for failure to pay the occupation tax when due, including authorizing the Waycross Police Department to close the business until fees, taxes, penalties, and interest are paid in full. Should a business continue to operate after the tax becomes delinquent and the business is closed, the owner will also be subject to criminal prosecution in city court. The City Commission will also declare an emergency since the occupation tax is due April 1st, so that the proposed ordinance can be read twice at the same meeting and adopted without delay. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Commissioner, you have heard the ordinance read by our city's clerk. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval by our Commissioner Nelson. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by our Commissioner Bennett. Any discussion on this ordinance?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Nelson.
I just want to say this is long overdue. This is
Yes,
like a hole in the boat. We've been losing constant revenue for the longest, and thank you, Mr. Manager, for bringing this to our attention. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussions from the commission or questions? Hearing none, we'll move into voting. District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
We have a unanimous vote. And the ordinance passes. At this time, we go to our resolutions, Mr. Clerk.
He has to read it a
Yes,
second
sir.
time.
Second time.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, let me say something here. There was a funny space here. This happened to be a discussion online already, right? Was this a discussion or a question that was online most recently with our city's clerk?
Yes, sir.
With Patrick?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right. I thought that was. Okay, so let's hear that reading one more time.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you time to breathe.
Thank you. An ordinance to amend the code of the city of Waycross, Georgia, to amend chapter 34, taxation, licenses, and business regulations, article 4, occupation tax, section 34-88, pertaining to when occupation tax due and payable, and to add stricter enforcement provisions, section 34-97, pertaining to subpoena and arrest powers, section 34-103, pertaining to payment of occupation tax by newly established businesses, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide for severability, to declare an emergency, to provide for an effective date, to provide for renumbering or relettering, and for other purposes. By adopting this ordinance, the City Commission will amend the city code relating to business license fees or occupation tax, to provide for increases in fees as set forth in the ordinance, the due date for said fees, and adding stricter enforcement penalties for failure to pay the occupation tax when due, including authorizing the Waycross Police Department to close business until fees, taxes, penalties, and interest are paid in full. Should a business continue to operate after tax becomes delinquent and the business is closed, the owner will also be subject to criminal prosecution in city court. The City Commission will also declare an emergency since the occupation tax is due April 1st, so that the proposed ordinance can be read twice at the same meeting and adopted without delay. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Commissioner, you have heard the ordinance read by our city's clerk. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval by our Commissioner Nelson. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by our Commissioner Bennett. Any discussion on this ordinance? Hearing none, we move into voting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Ordinance passes. Mr. Clerk.
Next, we have our resolutions. A resolution of the City of Waycross, Georgia, to award contract for renovations to Alice Street Warehouse to B. James Construction, LLC of Blackshear, Georgia, and for other purposes. By adopting this resolution, the City Commission will award a contract to B. James Construction, LLC of Blackshear, Georgia, to make repairs and improvements to Alice Street Warehouse that was flooded with over 14 inches of water during the November 7th, 2024 rainstorm, resulting in major damages to the building, equipment, and AC units, for a contract price of $45,000 to be paid for from ARPA funds. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Commissioner, you have heard the resolution read by our city's clerk. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval by our Commissioner Nelson,
Second.
second by our Commissioner Bennett. Any discussion or questions about this resolution? Hearing none, we'll move into voting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'll do it again. District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
All right, you got it done. All right,
Our second resolution, a resolution of the City of Waycross, Georgia, to approve the sale and transfer of certain surplus real property located at 1200 College Street, consisting of 9.09 acres, map and parcel number WA0710-076A, and for other purposes. By adopting this resolution, the City Commission will approve the sale of 1200 College Street as surplus property to the highest and best bidder, who was W.H. Gross Construction, for the sale price of $175,000, with the agreed-upon condition that the buyer abate the asbestos inside the building within 1 year of closing sale, as reflected in the real estate commercial purchase and sale agreement. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
thank you, Mr. Clerk. Commissioner, you've heard the resolution read by our city's clerk. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval by our Commissioner Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by our Commissioner Roberts. Any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, we'll move into voting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Resolution passes. Mr. Clerk.
final resolution, a resolution of the City of Waycross, Georgia, to amend the policy regarding extension of water and sewer services of the present system to provide an effective date and for other purposes. By adopting this resolution, the City Commission will approve an amendment to the policy, extension of water and sewer of the present system to provide that any individual partnership or firm hereinafter called participant desiring water and sewer service inside the city, which can be served from existing city mains, will pay increased participant costs from 75% to 100% of the cost of the completed installation of water or sewer service desired, including all necessary expenditures to the system, effective July 1st, 2025, or upon adoption of the FY 2026 budget, whichever occurs first. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Commissioner, you have heard the resolution read by our city's clerk. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval by our Commissioner Bennett. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by our Commissioner Nelson. Any discussion concerning this resolution?
Yes, Mayor.
Commissioner Felder has discussion.
Mr. City Manager, could you provide clarification on this resolution to the citizens?
Yes, Commissioner. So currently, water and sewer tap lines, depending on the size, scale, and scope, can cost up to, as much as $10,000, depending on the amount of water they're going to use. In the past, well, up until this point right now, we've been paying a 25% cost of that, which comes out of our water and sewer fund, which has been bleeding us pretty dry over the last few years. We can no longer eat that cost at this time because it's depleting all our funds to go to that. And most companies coming in here on new sewer lines, every other city, that's 100%. They always pay that on their own. We're one of the few cities that do that cost share. And like I say, it is depleting our funds in water and sewer. We need our water and sewer funds to go strictly to our water and sewer infrastructure as much as possible. This is just another previous decision where it might have been in the past, years ago, where it benefited and it made sense. As a business practice now, it no longer makes sense, and we can move on from it and modernize this process. And like I said, have more monies available in our water and sewer fund to take care of our customers and their infrastructure versus what we've been doing in the past.
Any further questions?
Yes. You stated that this was a business practice at one point in time that made sense.
I wasn't here, Commissioners.
Yes, I understand.
Correct.
I wasn't either. My
Correct.
question is, do you know how long we've been practicing
Uh,
this cost share
it's
as a city?
so at least 14 years. I know that, but I can't say anything before that. So at least 14 years that I know of. I know we've been doing that.
Okay. Any further questions, Commissioner?
No, thank you.
Hearing none, we're moving to voting. District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes, sir.
We have a unanimous vote. Resolution passes. At this time, we move to our last call, starting with our District 1.
Just like to tell everyone to have a good night and be safe.
And
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. District 2.
Thank everyone for coming out. Have a great week and weekend. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And District 3.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate everyone for coming out tonight. Also, I don't recall if we had the opportunity to thank CSX Railroad for repairing our railroad crossings throughout the city in multiple districts. It was desperately needed, so I really thank them to answering the call to repairing the infrastructure regarding the railroads here in the city. Also, I'd like to share with the citizens in our community that if you or someone you know does not have a high school equivalency diploma or a GED, you have an opportunity to complete your GED in 3 days with Coastal Pines Technical College's Adult Education Program. This opportunity is free to anyone 18 years of age and older. And if you would like more information, you're welcome to call 912-287-6580. Thank you, Mayor. Back to you.
Thank you. District 5.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Well, having heard everyone speak tonight, thank you so very much. Again, congratulations to this celebrant, Miss Velma Harrington, on her day at 95 years old. And we look forward to seeing you in the city. To all who are present tonight, thank you so very much for being here. And we ask that you consider being safe in the city. With that being said, offer motion, or I'll open the floor for a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Have a motion for adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great evening.